a couple things I like to do right as we start. First, I like to see Jesse's back there, Jesse Mahoney. They've had a phenomenal couple wins here and getting it going. It's always hard coming in your first year, and it's exciting seeing that. And then I have a real connection with the Harbaugh family. My brother played for Jack Harbaugh at Western Kentucky. I know John real well. I know Jim well. But when Coach Harbaugh was at Western Kentucky playing for my brother was playing for him, they dropped football. And my brother was a senior in college, and he called me. I was coaching at UT Martin, and he goes, "They've dropped football. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's my senior year." And Coach Harbaugh, Jack, came in and said, "We're not going to let this happen." And Jack and Jackie Harbaugh basically kept Western Kentucky University from dropping football. Jim and John invested money in the program. Jim, would come and coach in the spring because they didn't have enough money to pay coaches. And that family really is credited for sure with saving football at Western Kentucky University. And the other night after our game was over, I saw some highlights of Western playing Alabama, and it made me think of that whole story. So I talked to my brother a couple of times about it, and we're all coaches' kids and grew up coaches' kids, and we know how much the sport means to us. And for what that family did, I don't know if there's enough credit that goes out to Jack Harbaugh. They were going to drop football, and then 10 years later they won the national championship. And I think one of the coolest things he did, I went back and looked at their football facility, and my brother goes to a lot of Western Kentucky games now, is they put Coach Harbaugh told the young men that were seniors in that team that if they stayed and didn't leave and they would stay through that year and the kids on that team would stay, that when they won the national championship, they would put their picture, team picture up right beside the national championship team picture. And sure enough, in the Jack and Jackie Harbaugh football facility they have now, that picture's in there. And I just wanted to say a little about that. The Harbaugh family means a great deal to the MacIntyre family because my brother wouldn't have been able to finish college there and play, and it was a great experience. And I don't think enough people know that they truly saved a football program, which is thriving now. Now on to Michigan. I'll take any questions.
To kind of go along with what you were saying, Jim at his press conference yesterday talked about growing up and knowing Coach McCartney.
Yep.
And having cereal at his house, things like that. Is it fun for you to just kind of see the way coaches, just the relationships you guys have, just in everyday life, and all of you kind of know each other some way?
Yeah, we do. I got to know John pretty well in the NFL when I was coaching the NFL, and he was coaching secondary there. And then I got to know Jim when we were in San Jose, and he was at Stanford. But I knew Jack long before that with my brother playing for him for 4 years, and so they meant a lot. But yeah, there is a neat family atmosphere there, and then football's in our blood, and Jim and John have done a phenomenal job, and I know that Jack and Jackie are really proud of them.
Cepho and Tedrick seem to be saying all the upperclassmen right things about this game. They're preparing for this week like it's any other week, like it's any other game. Facing a game like this on the road against an opponent that's highly ranked, watching your team practice, are you getting the sense that that is true, that is exactly how they're feeling, or are you getting the sense that there might be a little extra excitement, a little extra incentive around this week?
Well, I think anytime, you play major college football for a reason. Anytime that you're playing a major program that's at the top of its height right now, doing really well, and you're playing on the road, that's our true road game, there's always a little more excitement in your first road game. But they understand that it's how we prepare. It's not the opponent you're going to play. It's how you prepare. And if you're prepared to play, then you'll be able to play as well as you can and see what happens. But if you're not prepared, it doesn't matter who you're playing. It doesn't matter how hyped up you get or how excited you get or where you're playing. It's all about the preparation. And they're a mature enough team now that they understand that. And so I don't think those are words. I think they really, truly, they get it. They've been through the hype of going to a place to play before and not playing good because they thought they'd just be excited about playing. Now they understand it's the work ethic that goes into it and being prepared.
Along those lines, each game's a separate entity, which I guess is a fancier way of saying you take them one game at a time.
Right.
How important is this game, even in your own minds, as a litmus test for just how good you are and how far this program has come?
Well, every game's different. And you go into with a different team all the time. You have injuries, you have different situations happen. But we take every game like it's one season at a time, and it's that big a deal. So every game we play is extremely important to us, and we'll kind of you measure yourself after every game, and you look at how you play, and you look at certain things that happen in a game to see if you keep improving. So our guys had a really good practice today, and hopefully those stay focused.
How much better is your team at preparing than when you first got here, and what's gone into getting this team to that point?
I think it's just maturity. The more mature your team is, and guys that have been out there and played, and they know that the coach tells you, you better notice where the back is. You better look to the sideline fast because this team goes quick. And in the game, they don't look where the back is, and they realize that all of a sudden they get beat, and they don't look to the sidelines fast, and they're halfway lined up, and they don't get the call, and the guy runs by them. They've been out there in the fire, so they know there's a trust factor between the players and the coaches now. And so they listen to everything. And then the great thing about our guys is they ask a lot of questions. We'll talk about something, and like today I was doing something in a meeting. I said, now what would we want to do on this? And they told me exactly. I didn't even have to tell them. They knew exactly what we wanted to do. So that maturity factor is a big deal. And as you keep building your team and you build that culture, the older guys teach the younger guys, and they understand that's just the way it is.
What have you seen from Michigan on film, offensively and defensively?
Big and athletic. They are really big. They're very athletic. They've got a lot of depth. They're experienced at all over the field. And then they've got a lot of freshmen that they're throwing in there that are very athletic too. But big and athletic. They do a very good job defensively, do a lot of stunning, able to play a lot of good man coverage. Offensively, they're able to run the ball, great at play-action pass, and the quarterback can really throw the deep ball well.
A lot of your offensive linemen have said that Cepho looks different this year. He just acts different. He just seems like a different quarterback back there. What have you noticed about him, and what makes him maybe different than he was last year, besides just obviously repetitions?
Well, I just, I think I've said it quite a few times. He's came back off an injury that he thought he wasn't going to get to play again. And I think anytime in any walk of life or anything you do, when you come back, when you think you might not have a chance to do that again at the time you want, you take a new sense of, you don't take anything for granted. And so everything's focused, everything. You cherish every moment. You cherish coming in the morning, having to get in the cold tub because you couldn't do it before you were going to get play. You cherish putting on your cleats and your feet are sore because you've been running so much. You enjoy those moments where before you complained about them. So I think that's what you see.
Coach, obviously there's been a lot of development in the time since you first came here. Now you've got a mature football team, one that you hope is not that won't wilt in the moment in Ann Arbor. I'm curious to know what you're most curious about. You obviously know this team inside and out. You think you've got a good tap on their mentality and the heart and all of those things. But what are you most curious about as you head to a very new situation on Saturday?
Well, I don't think that our kids will wilt at all. I think we're playing a really good football team. So now we need to see how we play against a really good football team, and I think they do too. Playing against a better football team than some of the teams they've played, I hope. And so I think that you just go out there and you stand toe to toe and you fight and see how we fight and see how we measure up is I think what we'll see.
So obviously,
You always save yours for last.
well, this is kind of frivolous. I don't want to. So Miracle at Michigan, obviously, that comes up this week. Just where were you when you saw the play? I don't know if you watched it live or saw it later, and just your thoughts on the play.
Yeah, I was coaching at UT Martin in West Tennessee in the OVC. I saw it on highlights that night on ESPN because there was only one ESPN channel. Yeah, how about that? And there was no Fox Sports. There's one channel. So I saw the highlights on that and miraculous play. The fun thing for me coming here this summer was really unique in that Cordell Stewart came back to school to finish up, which he didn't have to, but he wanted to. And it was really neat. So I got to spend a month with him here. And I saw him basically every day because he was in the weight room and he was around. And I got to know him. And he told me a little bit how, after he made that throw, his confidence level went out the roof. And so it was just fun being around him and getting to know him as a person and seeing his passion and love for Colorado. So I kind of got an inside And I've met everybody involved in the play from Tipper to Westbrook, all those guys. So it's fun getting to meet all those guys. But I had never really sat down and spent a lot of time with Cordell, and I got to spend a lot of time with him, and I really enjoyed that. And not only can he throw the ball 70-something yards in the air, he's really a good guy.
When you see that play, what's the most impressive thing about it? Is it the fact that a quarterback could throw it 73
It's the
yards?
fact to me he threw it that far. I mean, not many people can do that at all. Most teams, you can't do it. You're having to do a flea flicker or throw the ball around or that type of thing. He could heave it 70-something yards. And so it was – and talking to Rick Neuheisel about the play too, he was telling me all about it. You know, he thought he could throw it that far also, and it was kind of a unique situation. All right, thank you.